Thank you. Cool. Is that for me? Thanks for coming, everyone, on this Sunday. I'm not a public speaker by any means, so bear with me. I might get a little nervous. Who's here to listen about the food, nutritional side of it? Just a raise of hands. A few people. More the training or cardio-based side of it? Who's here? Who's here more to learn the mindset, disciplinary stuff? Yeah, that's the majority, I think, and that's more to do with applying it and more to do with how do you stick to your diet, how do you stick to the training principles, what is it about me that's gotten me so far, and am I different than everyone else? I don't believe that. I believe that I've just tapped into a few things. I definitely have the genetics, but potential is a huge thing, and I've met so many people in my life who I think had better potential than what I have, and they didn't make it as far as what I did, and it's purely a mindset thing. Expectations, I think, is a huge thing. And if you're expecting this result, but your reality is this, you'll be disappointed. So you need to figure out what the reason is first, and you need to say, well, when it gets hard, what am I gonna feel? What's gonna happen? And you'll be, I'm hungry, I'm starving, I'm missing out on social occasions, all that sort of stuff. When you're expecting to go through the pain, you can get through it. If you're not expecting it, you're not gonna go through it. And that's what makes, I think, a champion, someone who keeps striving to be better, no matter how much they get knocked down. The thing is they always get back up and go for more. Made a decision recently to pull out of these upcoming contests, the Arnold US, New Zealand Pro Show and Arnold Australia. Personal things going on, and unfortunately something happened that was out of my control, and I made the decision to be there with my family more so than the gym. I was just too stressed, missing too much sleep, not getting enough food, and I just thought if I'm not going to be my best in this competition, and what's the point? It's a lot of stress for me to handle. It's like anything. With bodybuilding, super compensation is when you're doing more than what you can handle, when your body has to compensate to adapt and grow to that, and it's like life. You don't know how far you can push yourself until you've gone too far. And for me, that was my breaking point. I'd had a lot of things going on, business, life, and then this was just the pit. It was like I was just sort of treading water, and this was the last thing that just put me under the water, and I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna be a better version of myself if I just take this bit off. How you going? Good, mate. Thanks for coming to the seminar, man. Appreciate it. Legend, how you going? Yeah, it's all right. Yeah, not bad. Yeah, pulled a pin. Yeah. Missed too much time, and like I could, but I'd be worse, I think. So I was aiming for another one. Comps all the time. Yeah. Just sad. The Arnold, it's a good one. That's been the hard thing, explaining to people the story every time I see them. What? How's your prep going? I'm like, oh, I'm not doing the show. Well, why not? It's like, I'm not unhappy with my choice. Like, family should always come first anyway. And there's always comps. It's comps every year. So I have to just wait till next year or later this year to do a show.
The Thunder from down under, Big Josh Lenartowicz.
Bodybuilding for me, it's something that I very first saw and I connected with and I just loved. And I thought that the human body was an amazing thing. I looked at it as a piece of art. I was just incredibly amazed by what the human body could get like or be like. And as odd as it is for a lot of people with the tan and the posing trunks, someone's opinion of you does not determine your reality, and that's something huge to me. I wanted to be a bodybuilder. I wanted to be a pro bodybuilder. That was something that I just loved. So growing up in a country town where the main sport is football and people don't understand bodybuilding at all, it was so foreign that I was doing that. But maybe that's what made me want more of it as well. No one else was really doing this in my life. My older brother was. I looked up to him a lot, someone that I love. And I always wanted to do it to connect more with him as well. It wasn't something that was like a vain thing for me. I did want more self-confidence. I was extremely shy growing up. So that was something that the bodybuilding, having confidence, drew me to it, because you've got a lift, you have a target, you beat that lift, that just creates self-esteem. And that's something that I love. When I was, say, 20 years old, entered my first competition before my 21st birthday, I was like shaking like crazy on stage and it was embarrassing for me. but I knew it was something that I wanted to do. And I was fortunate enough to win that competition. It wasn't a huge competition. I was a junior, and I was the first person to win an open title as a junior as well. At that time though, my dad had been diagnosed with cancer, and he was very sick, and that same day that I had my competition, he had his kidney removed. And I won 2 trophies, and it was very symbolic for me because one of the trophies I gave to him and one I kept for myself, and it was like, that was an amazing thing for me with bodybuilding. And I wouldn't have that memory or that impact if I just gave up on my dream. So I did a bunch of shows when I was younger. I was very successful with them. I won a lot of the competitions that I went in. I went to Perth to do the world titles, and I got second at 23. I was the youngest person to place so high. But my father passed away early on in that year, and that was something that I went forwards towards, and I missed out on some times with my family, the grieving process, and I just kept striving for the bodybuilding. But afterwards, it was almost a bigger letdown from the show because I was trying to fulfill a gap. That you can't fix an emotional issue with a physical solution. And that was something that I realized now that I was trying to do then. Years later, I joined the IFBB. I was, say, late 29, probably 29. I did my first show at 30. And as my recent history has, the comps I've been very successful with winning those shows and winning Mr. Australasia and then winning my pro card and then going on, and it was competing in pro shows and getting smashed in the beginning and feeling a bit let down, and then going forwards from there and eventually winning a couple of pro shows, and then last year competing at the Mr. Olympia. So it was a huge year last year for me. Last 16 months have been great, but that wouldn't happen if I gave up on my life, on my dream. If you're training to build muscle, this, I believe, is the most productive way of doing it. Be able to build up, overload, next exercise, build up without injury, slow increments, progressing, and then overload. And I'm not proclaiming that it's the best out of all the systems, but when you think about the whole muscle building process, hypertrophy, what it takes to build muscle and all the facets that come into it, doing the building sets for injury prevention is so important. Doing the 1 overload set, create the intracellular response for adaptation and growth. That's how muscle's built from absolute muscle damage. Like I've said, 2 or 3 or 4 of those overload sets isn't creating any more damage. You've already done the damage to begin with. You can't do more of it. But going into the future exercises and having the ability to overload in them is so important. If I was to just wipe myself out for the first exercise, then exercises 2, 3, and 4, and 5, my performance has to be diminished, has to be, if you're putting everything into that first one. So to prevent injury, this is I've found to be the most important system.
Well, I'm really happy to announce the King of the Gym is back in the show.
Oh, fuck
He's
off.
pumped up today. He looks unbelievable. Seriously, he looks better than when he fell off his diet and told me he couldn't compete. I think he's messing with us. I'm going to make a bold prediction that Josh Lenartowicz is going to pull it in. He's not going to worry about Columbus, New Zealand, all those shitholes. He's coming back to Melbourne to compete because we love him and he looks incredible. And I reckon, seriously, no.
This is what he does best.
This is what I do best. Seriously though, could you, if God told you and there was $1 million in it, could you get in shape in the next 4 weeks?
This is what he does.
It's a question.
Yeah.
No, answer the impossible question. If you had to have your life depended on it.
Don't know.
You couldn't.
I don't have a crystal ball.
That's a yes.
Have a
That's a
crystal
yes.
ball.
At least I've got him thinking. I've planted the seed, I'll never quit. You know that?
I know, exactly. That's what he does.
You know, it just hit me then. I hadn't thought it until I
He's a
seen
major
him
promoter.
filming today. And look at you. He didn't say no, folks. I've got him thinking.
Whatever.
Let's everyone bombarding with messages. Let's go viral. Josh Lenartowicz can make it, and he's always welcome. He's the only person in the world who'll say this. You can tell me the day before the show, hey, guess what? I'm going to put some tan on and do it, and I'll get you in. And no one else in the world can do that. And there you have it.
In a way, I could do really good for the next 4 weeks and do that Aussie show, but then I miss out on the New Zealand show, and then got a lot of respect for Mo, who runs that show there, and I feel like, well, if I should have done that, I could have, should have, would have, got ready a week earlier and done his show, which is the first time he's running an open title there, which is, you always want to respect and endorse bodybuilding as best I can. I feel like I wouldn't be, so it's tough. It's almost like you got 2 friends' birthdays and 2 weekends, and you don't decide to go to one, you go to the other one. It's like a slap in the face to one of them. So, and all the New Zealand fans in there that are supporting me as well. It's like They'll be disappointed, why didn't you just do an extra week hard?
I do this show for Australian bodybuilding. I put my whole year into it, and one of the best and most highlights of this year was knowing that Josh was going to do it. And I'm seriously devastated that he can't. I understand why. That's not a guilt trip, and I respect that. But if there's some way that we could all just snap him into it, barrage him with messages, get a viral campaign going, GoFundMe, Facebook, all this kind of thing. What I'm saying is half tongue-in-cheek, but also very clever, because now he's thinking about it.
What are those things coming to your mind when you've had a level of achievement, and then you're going into shows not at your best, and then other people can come in and take that level, strip that level straight off you. And if I'm only just getting myself established as a decent pro, and then to have people who haven't reached that level of success come out and beat me when I'm not at my best. And what does that come down to? Is that just a strategic idea, or is that pride getting in the way? Because it's your pride that goes, oh, what if I get beaten? I knew I could have done better.
Yeah. You can answer that, mate.
If you listened to my talking 2 years ago, I talk like it doesn't matter, I've got no pride. If I get beaten, I get beaten. And whereas now I'm like trying to think more for my future and impacting lives and having a bigger reach.
All in or not at all, remember?
Yeah, it's true, all in or not at all.
110%. And you wouldn't give it that, would you? You wouldn't have been able to.
Yeah, no, it's happened.
Mentally, you couldn't. Your mind's in a different place. We'd love to see out there.
As weird as it sounds, people want to support a winner. They want to support someone who's constantly getting second place, last place, second place.
Mate, straight on your side.
Thanks.
You know what I mean? No pressure.
Just got a country on my side.
No pressure. Be yourself proud, mate.
Thanks.
You know you do it. You know you do it, mate.
I feel a lot less pressured. A lot of pressure's come off my shoulder. Not doing it. Getting ready for a show is always on your mind. Like you wake up with it on your mind, you go to sleep with it on your mind. Every action you're doing through the day is going towards building muscle or getting leaner in some way, and your whole day revolves around it. So to not have that on my mind, it is relieving for this little section, definitely. I want to plan a prep 20 weeks ahead of time, you know, that sort of thing, and just give it 100% and just really just bring it and then blow everyone away in that sense. Like impressing yourself, I think, is the most important thing you can do, and by being committed. In a rush as normal, late as normal. So if you're late, take your time. You can't be late twice. Just getting back into enjoying training again. When I'm in a big state of progression, I stick to my 8-week rep variation program. Now it's a bit more fun. I don't have a program to follow. I'm just going in there and doing a few big lifts at the start, and then the rest of it is more like just stressing out the body with reps. It's been good though. I do love it. Even now that I'm not competing, I'm enjoying it more. Yesterday I went and trained 3 times in the gym in the day, which I wouldn't do that. And I got 7 meals in, and I haven't had that in a long time just because I wanted to, not because there was a deadline. And there's something different about wanting to do something versus having to do something. It was like a study I've seen, and it had these mice in a wheel. So the mouse would run on this wheel, and because it was exercising, it would have these endorphins and positivity, endorphins, good mood, all the positive stuff from that. And then they yoked another mouse into it because they thought, well, all exercise is good for you, makes you happy, makes you enjoy it. So they yoked one of the wheels up to another wheel with the mouse stuck in that wheel. And every time the first mouse would run, it would force the other one to run. So it wasn't running out of because it wanted to, it was running out of force. And they realized that the other one didn't have any of those endorphins or dopamine release, it was just stressed. So it's like not exercise isn't great for everyone, but wanting to exercise is great. And when you want to do something versus having to do something, it's a huge thing. Your body isn't everything. Getting your value from something more than that is what's important. We all have a body, but we're all not going to live forever. We'll have a body, but it's not going to perform at the maximum rate forever. There's going to be times where you'll have an injury, you'll have something go wrong, and then all of a sudden it's like, wow, if I'm getting my value from this, that period after it is going to be really hard for me. And I shouldn't get my value from something that is temporary. today we're at the Arnold qualifier and we've got the novice division on. And what the judges are doing is they're bringing all the competitors out, just 5 at a time.
Front leg spring.
Just 5 at a time, and then they're going to figure out who they want in their first call out.
Front leg spring.
What a first call out means is you're guaranteed generally 1 to 3 places. So what the judges are looking for is to find the person who's got the most balance, first of all. They have to be symmetrical, so they have to have a small waist, wide shoulders, big sweep on their quads, but then they have to be conditioned as well. So the person with the most condition will generally win, given that the muscle's pretty even. So if you've got, for example, if you've got someone who's 5 kilos heavier, but they're unconditioned, they'll generally lose to the person who's 5 kilos lighter, but with razor sharp conditioning. When you get moved in the middle, that means that they're going to compare everyone else to you. So that's the standard at the moment. So anyone can beat him, they'll move them to the center. So that's generally your top 3 will be put right in the center, front and center. If you're pushed to the side, it means basically that you're not going to get a top 3 spot.
Yeah, you go!
So the middle 4 is sort of the battle. Which is pretty good now with Australian standard. We've picked up a lot. And I'd hope to think that I've got something to do with that. Egotistical.
Real expert.
In the industry, how are you?
Hey, mate.
What's happening? How are you?
Did you want to? We're going to announce your big plans for the Arnold Classic this year. Ready to go to Columbus, Ohio, but things didn't work out. Let's tell the audience what's going on.
No, I just had some stuff that was out of my control, and that was it. Really, don't want to go into it. It's a bit personal kind of stuff. So
some family stuff,
family orientated stuff, and I'm not unhappy with my choice because family should come first. And by the time we got out of that situation, thanks. So by the time I was out of that situation, I was already a bit behind, and I thought, well, I'm not going to get up there being worse than I was before, and I don't deserve that. Australians don't deserve that, so I thought I'll just sit it out until next time.
Yeah, we want to see you qualify for the Olympia again. Of course, it was a great moment of pride for all Australians seeing you in Olympia last year, doing so well. And Josh, any message for the fans?
No, I just want to actually say if everyone can put their hands together for Tony and the Arnold crew for always putting it together, and for this show, do a fantastic job, and everyone that supports it. I think you guys are amazing, and I'm sorry if I let anyone down not doing the competition, but thank you very much. So hopefully next time. That's all I want to say. Thanks.
No, mate, you're a champion, you're a legend, you're the people's champ. We know you'll be back, and you're always welcome. Josh Lenartowicz, ladies and gentlemen. Honestly, as a bodybuilding fan, I'm sad because I think he's one of 2 or 3 guys that are the future of the sport right now. You've got a couple of guys coming up, but the older guys are dropping off, and there's 2 or 3 guys that everyone's talking about. Dallas McCarver, Justin Compton, Josh Lenartowicz. It's sad for bodybuilding, but it is what it is, and Josh is going to do what's right for him. No matter what, I respect that.
Looking good, man.
Hell of a king is out.
Yeah, sure. What's going on, mate? Doing well? Looking great. What, mate, this is like the hugest killer lineup. Awesome, man. It's always on my mind, bodybuilding. I wake up with it on my mind. I go to sleep with it on my mind. Very rarely are there days that it's not on my mind, so that's why I know that it's something that I must need to do with my life. I've still got a lot of work to do with where I want to be with my body, so that's still always on my mind. Can't get away from that. If you just want average, be average, but you're going to have average results, you're going to have an average life. But if you want exceptional, extraordinary, it's that little bit extra. It's not ordinary, it's extraordinary. What extra are you going to do with your life?
From Australia, Josh Lenartowicz.